Yo, what is up, guys? It's Cone back here again today with another video. Finally here with my NBA mock draft for the 2021 NBA season. I'm only doing the first round. I'm not doing both rounds. It was hard enough for me to make one for round one. I do want to preface this video with the fact that I am a draft casual. This is my first year looking into the draft somewhat in depth. In years past, I've kind of just looked at more of the top guys and learned about the lower guys from watching them in college and reading up a little bit. But this is the first year where I've actually watched a lot of film on different guys. This is just what I'm projecting. I'm not saying because a player ends up falling to pick 30 or something like that they won't be a stud in the draft. Players fall and rise all the time. This is not me at all projecting how good each player is going to be. This isn't a ranking of who I think the best players in the draft are. This is just the way I kind of see the draft going. There's a lot of different ways it can go, like a billion possibilities. This is just one of them. So, wanted to preface that before I make an awful mock draft and you hate me. So, we're going to go ahead and jump into it. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you're looking for more draft content, going to be doing a live stream tomorrow during the NBA draft, talking about every single pick as it happens. I'll probably go at least until the Thunder make their two picks at 16 and 18. Then might take a little bit of a break and come back for the second round. We'll see what it's going to be, but at least you'll see my reaction through those first 18 picks. So you want to make sure to see that. Make sure you subscribe and be looking for that tomorrow. So, going into this, first overall pick, the Detroit Pistons. This also isn't going to have any trades. I'm not trying to project trades right now. Maybe I'll do a video tomorrow predicting some trades or something like that. But for right now, just going with the draft order we have, and I'll talk about that a little bit as we move on. So, first overall pick in the NBA draft, it's the Detroit Pistons. They're going to take Cade Cunningham. If they stick here at 1, which I think they will, they're taking Cade. I don't see any way around that. He's the best player in the draft, in my opinion. That is one thing that I do think, and it's going to be Cade. Second overall pick. This is something that's been kind of a debate for a while, but at this point, it feels like it's going to be Jalen Green. I don't see the Rockets going with anyone other than Jalen Green. I like Mobley more, if I'm being honest. Mobley is one of my favorite players in this entire draft class. I think he's a superstar in the making, which is why I'm praying the Thunder find a way to trade up to 3 so that we can take him. But for right now, I think it's Jalen Green at 2. Jalen Green's going to be a stud electric scorer. Put him next to Kevin Porter Jr. You have a great backcourt for the future. If you want to run KPJ at the 1, I think that would be a phenomenal fit there on the Rockets. And then you put them alongside Christian Wood, and they're going to be a really fun team to watch going forward. Third overall pick, Cavs stay here. I think the first 3 picks are locked, and I think it's Evan Mobley. You can't pass on him at 3. Mobley would be the first overall pick in so many drafts. You can't pass on him at 3. They have Jared Allen. I get it. Doesn't matter. You don't want to pay Jared Allen, cool. Or I even think Evan Mobley is mobile enough to play the 4 and pair him next to Jared Allen in that front court. I think that could work as well. Next, fourth overall pick. This is finally where it kind of starts to get a little bit hazy here. There have been reports that the Raptors really like a Scotty Barnes. There have been reports that they're probably just going to go with Jalen Suggs, which is the way I think they do end up going. Suggs is a guy that I feel like has kind of gotten forgotten in this draft class. Suggs is really good. I don't think they'll pass up on him at 4, especially because they're going to lose Kyle Lowry to free agency this offseason. Get your point guard of the future in Jalen Suggs, a stud and another guy that in many other draft classes could be that top 1 or 2 guy. At 5, this is where it starts to get very, very interesting. But I think through about 6 or so, I feel like there's a certain way it's going to go, and if it deviates, I'd be kind of surprised. Here at 5, I think it's going to be Scotty Barnes. I think Barnes, they've been moving up on him. Kuminga for a while was the 5th overall pick guy, but at this point, I think Scotty Barnes is a player that a lot of people like more. He's a great playmaker for his size. He's a good defender. Scotty Barnes feels like a Draymond Green light. If he can find some offensive consistency, he's going to be a stud. I've been completely sold on him for a while, especially ever since the Thunder got the 6th pick. He's a guy I would love for the Thunder to get, but I do think the Magic are going to scoop him at pick 5. At pick 6, I think James Bouknight's the guy. Once again, Kuminga, top 5 guy, continues to fall, but Bouknight and SGA as a pairing in the backcourt is great. Great score to help take that load off of Shea, which was one of our biggest problems as a team last season. We needed someone to help Shea score the basketball. That's exactly what James Bouknight is going to come in and do. He's also a solid defender, and I think he has a lot of tools to be a really good defender down the line, which is something we also need some help with because Shea has the tools to be a good defender, but he's not quite there yet. So a pairing of SGA and James Bouknight in the backcourt with maybe Dort at the 3 could work out really well. I would love this pick as a Thunder fan. He's the guy right now that I think we are going to get at 6, and I'd be ecstatic with that. Pick 7. Now, The Warriors are an interesting team because they're trying to compete next season. But at the same time, I don't think you can pass up on Kuminga here. Kuminga, like I said, top 5 guy, and if he falls to you at 7, just right in your lap if you're the Golden State Warriors, I think you pick him. I don't think they're going to pass up on him. Whether or not they keep him is another question. I could see them at some point trading Jonathan Kuminga. I could also see them trading this pick before the draft. But for right now, if they stick here, I think it's too much value to get Kuminga this far down at 7 that I think that's something they're going to go with. Next up at pick 8, I think the Magic are going to go with Moses Moody. They need scoring, and Moses Moody is super young. He's a great scorer. He's shown so many flashes of being electric on that end of the ball, and they need someone exciting. Right now, the Magic have some exciting guys like Fultz is going to be coming back. Scotty Barnes they just took. Adding a guy like Moses Moody to help raise that excitement level in Orlando. Young player, great scorer. It'll be fun in Orlando. With the Kings, this is a pick that's kind of been mocked by a ton of people. I'm not at all unique in going with this. I'm going with Franz Wagner to the Kings at pick 9. It just feels right. Like, it feels like this is what's going to happen. It's been like I said, it's been mocked a million times. He fits this team perfectly. They need some guy with some size as well as some good defensive prowess. That's exactly what Franz Wagner is. They're going to go with him if he's there. Pick 10, the Grizzlies trading up from pick 17 using Jonas Valanciunas, taking on the contracts of Eric Bledsoe and Steven Adams just a day or two ago. I've lost track at this point. I'm just waiting for the draft. So there's been reports that the guy they're looking at with pick 10 is Josh Giddey, and so I scrolled down. I'm not smarter than all these people that are projecting him to go here and have said that this is the way they're going. So I'm going to go with Josh Giddey at pick 10 for the Grizzlies. Fun playmaker. He might fit well next to Ja in the backcourt if he develops more. Not a great shooter quite yet, but I think some of the people that are saying he just can't shoot at all are overblowing it a little bit. I think Giddey and Ja do have some fun potential. 11. This is where it gets really interesting. I feel like the Hornets, there are many different ways they could go. They could go with like a Jalen Johnson. I think they could go with a Corey Kispert to put next to LaMelo Ball. I think he would be a nice shooter for them. But ultimately, I think they're going to go with Kai Jones. They need a big man, and Kai Jones has been shooting up a lot of people's draft boards. He feels like a guy who would be great for this team. He's athletic. He can catch some lobs from LaMelo Ball. He would add some excitement to the team. I think they're going with Kai Jones. Pick 12. This one's going to break my heart because if you know me, if you've watched some of the videos I've talked about, if you watch my video about who the Thunder could draft, I really like Alperen Sengun, and unfortunately, I think the Spurs pick him up here at 12. They're going to be trading, or they're going to be losing DeMar DeRozan. There's rumors that they're trying to trade DeJounte Murray and Derek White, so they need some playmaking. They need a big just in general, even if they do keep those guys. So Sengun kind of fits all of that in one package. I think he is a really solid pick for them there at 12. With the Pacers here, there's rumors that they're thinking either Chris Duarte, I think that's how his name is pronounced. If it's wrong, I'm sorry. Or Corey Kispert, depending on which one's available. Right now, they're both available. Pacers fans are probably going to hate this. I'm going to go with Corey Kispert. I think he's a really solid player. He fits a good shooting role, especially if the Pacers lose Doug McDermott. If the Pacers are trying to be competitive next season, which I think they are going to be, I like him here. Davion Mitchell is another guy I think they could consider, but just from the report I saw before going with this, I think that ultimately Corey Kispert is the guy they're going to go with. With the 14th overall pick, the Warriors should be ecstatic if Davion Mitchell is still here at 14. He's a guy I think they could have picked at 7, but getting Jonathan Kuminga and Davion Mitchell, steal the draft for them. I think that's what they're going to go with. They need someone to help them win now, and that's Davion Mitchell. Great backup point guard, tough defensively, good play. He can just do it all for you off the bench behind Steph Curry. Next, we've got pick 15 for the Wizards. This is one I've gone back and forth on. I feel like there's a lot of options they can go with. But if the Wizards are trying to compete like it kind of seems that they are, I think Chris Duarte is a good pick for them. He's projected way down here 25 on this draft board. He's going to go higher than that, I promise you. He's a guy that I think is either going to go here or he could even fall to the Lakers. I think he's picked somewhere in that range. He's a good win now guy, so if the Wizards are trying to win, they'll go with him. 16th overall pick. Now this is where it gets interesting for the Thunder because Bouknight is a guy that kind of seems like the Thunder have been thinking about him for a while, but we need a big is what especially we need. And I'm not taking one here. I'm going to take Zaire Williams out of Stanford. He is a guy who didn't really impress very much at Stanford, but he was dealing with a lot of different things, and he has impressed a lot in his workouts, which has helped him shoot up draft boards. Some people even saying he could go as high as 8 to the Orlando Magic. I'm hoping he falls to the Thunder here. I think he would be a good pick. He's got a lower floor, but a pretty high ceiling, and I think those are the type of guys the Thunder are looking to take right now. Here with the Pelicans, trading down from pick 10, I think it seems like they're going towards win now mode. They're rumored to be in on Kyle Lowry, picking up Jonas Valanciunas, and I think a guy that could help them win now a little bit if he shows up here, I don't know why he's so far down the draft board, is Trey Murphy III, UVA legend. Shout out UVA legend Trey Murphy. I'm a UVA fan if you didn't know. He provides them some shooting, some spacing that they desperately need, good 3-and-D guy, a good role player that has a higher ceiling, kind of similar to like a DeAndre Hunter type. Obviously Hunter was picked much higher, but Trey Murphy has that 3-and-D build, UVA guy, smart player. I could see him being a good fit on that Pelicans team. 18th overall pick for the Thunder. Once again, I'm not going a big man, and that's not because I don't think we need one. We don't have really any on the roster, but there have been reports that the Thunder are tied to Jared Butler. He is a 6'3" point guard out of Baylor, kind of older for the team, but he is a guy that could help SGA out a good bit with the point guard duties. Another problem we had is really not great playmaking. Teo Maledon did a decent job, but someone needs to help Shea on the playmaking end and to create shots for others, and I think Jared Butler could help out with that, so he's the guy I think the Thunder would lean here at 18. At pick 19, wow, we're getting through this. Actually, I don't want to say fast because I have no idea how fast we're going. At pick 19, we have the New York Knicks. This is an interesting pick for them. Sharif Cooper is a guy I've seen mocked to the Knicks a lot, not necessarily here at 19, but with one of their picks. Sharif's a guy I think is going to fall despite liking him a lot. I think the Knicks go with a Keon Johnson. He's a guy who was projected to go like top 10 towards the start of the draft cycle, and now he's fallen really far. He's a guy that I think this is good value for the Knicks here if they want to pick him up. Helps fill a position of need, especially if they lose some guys in free agency. So the New York Knicks could go with him. At pick 21, or 20, excuse me, we have the Atlanta Hawks. They're a team that kind of just needs some depth. They made the Eastern Conference Finals. They made a deep run, and a guy I think that could help them out a lot with that depth is Cam Thomas out of LSU, 6'4" shooting guard. If they lose Lou Williams, he's a guy that could come in and help out, provide some depth for them. You know, why not? 21st pick, the New York Knicks, once again up on the clock, and a guy I've seen that they've had connections to is Isaiah Jackson. They could use a big man, whether Nerlens Noel is still around or not. Mitchell Robinson has a lot of problems staying healthy. They need some kind of big, and I think Isaiah Jackson would help out a good bit. They're as either a backup center or a starting center if Mitchell Robinson is struggling, or if they decide to trade him, which there have been some rumors. Not quite sure how true those are, but he's a guy that I've seen has a lot of connections to the Knicks franchise, and so I'm going to go with Isaiah Jackson here at pick 21. Next, pick 22 for the Lakers. Jalen Johnson has fallen very far to this point, and this is where the fall stops. A guy that had, like I said, I really think he's going to fall. I don't know if he's going to fall quite this far. I feel like he could go anywhere from like 11 to like the Hornets type area, all the way here to the Lakers. But if he makes it to the Lakers, I think they end up picking him. A point forward, kind of similar to LeBron, who I see now they have listed as a shooting guard for some reason over here. I don't know if you can see that behind my face cam, but over on the right here, they have their current roster and they have LeBron as a shooting guard, I guess. Jalen Johnson provides them a point forward who can help with some of the playmaking duties. And if he ends up playing better than he played in college, he could be an absolute steal here at pick 22. So I'm going to go with Jalen Johnson. Next, we have pick 23 with the Rockets. So they've got 2 picks back to back here. So it really doesn't matter which order I pick them in. I'll start off with Usman Garuba. They need a big man, and I think Garuba helps out providing some depth behind Christian Wood. Great defensive player for a team that could kind of use a defensive anchor. I like him a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes a lot earlier than this, but he fell this far, so they're going to pick him here. And then after that, the Rockets are a team that's still in the early stages of their rebuild. Obviously, they'll be getting a Jalen Green who's going to help them out a lot. But another guy, a kind of like lower floor, high ceiling type guy that I think they could take is Josh Primo. I'm going to mock him here. I think it was Sports Illustrated that had this going, and the more I thought about that pick, is the more I kind of liked it as a buy low type of prospect. He's a guy that's been moving up draft boards, and if you're in the early stages of your rebuild, why not take a chance on a guy that's been rising? Here at pick 25 for the Los Angeles Clippers, a guy that I've been seeing mocked here a lot, and something that I kind of like for this team is a guy like Day'Ron Sharpe. He is a backup big that they could use with Serge Ibaka's contract being up and needing someone behind Ivica Zubac. I could see Daron Sharp going here. He's someone who's kind of, I feel like, a little bit under the radar for some people. He might get picked here, and a lot of people are going to go, who is that? But Sharp, I think, would be a good fit for this Clippers team. Just bringing more depth at a position that could kind of use it. And that's what they're going to go with here at pick 25. Next, pick 26 for the Denver Nuggets. I like Dosunmu out of Illinois. He's good, and for a team that really needs some scoring, a team that needs someone who's going to come in and impact immediately after Jamal Murray's injury, they want someone to be productive coming in immediately next season. I'm going to go with Dosunmu. I think he's going to be a good fit for them, and I think my guy Asher, shout out Asher on YouTube, I think he's going to be a big fan of this pick here if he's watching this video. Next, at pick 27 for the Brooklyn Nets, they need someone who's going to come in and be ready right away to help them win. Losing Spencer Dinwiddie possibly to free agency, I'm going to go with here for them Miles McBride. He is a point guard that can help facilitate the bench operations. He's going to help them out. Why not bring in a guy that's just going to increase your depth at a position you might be losing some at? Now, for the Philadelphia 76ers, there was just a report that they're asking for like a James Harden-esque package for Ben Simmons, so who knows if they will trade him or not, but assuming they do trade him, they're going to need a point guard. They need someone who can do some playmaking. They need someone who can really help out on that bench unit, assuming they do get a starting guard back. I'm going to go with Sharife Cooper. He's fallen really far in this mock draft, and I think if they got him here at 28, it would be a ridiculous steal for the 76ers. So I'm going to go with Sharife Cooper here for the Sixers. Next up, we've got the Phoenix Suns. Really, they don't need a lot. I'm going to go with the Tre Mann, I think, here for the Phoenix Suns, just in case they lose Cameron Payne. Bring in another point guard. Why not? Help out the team. They don't need a lot of depth at other positions. They could use maybe like a power forward or a center, just because they might have lost Dario Saric, or they did lose Dario Saric for probably all of next season. Have someone help out behind DeAndre Ayton, but I think they could definitely get that in free agency as well. So why not go with a guy like Tre Mann? And finally, pick 30 for the Utah Jazz. I'm going to go with Jaden Springer. They need a backup point guard. Don't really have one on the roster that's super effective at this point behind Mike Conley. They're going to bring Mike Conley back, but bringing in a smart player like Jaden Springer can help them out. A solid defender and pretty tall at 6'4" for the point guard position. So that is my mock draft. I'll scroll through it here for you so you can see it. I don't think I can, I can't get all of it in here, but here is a slow look at the mock draft. So those are my picks. Once again, I am not an expert in this at all. There are probably almost every single one of these picks will probably be wrong, but it was pretty fun to make. I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know what you thought. Are there some prospects that you think will go earlier or later than I mock them at? Who are some of your favorite prospects in this draft, and who do you want your team to take with their draft pick or draft picks in this year's draft? Also, let me know some of your favorite second round guys. Josh Christopher and JT Thor are an example of two of my favorites. My guy Franz Blindberg, who I hope ends up with the Thunder at 34 or 36, are some examples of some of my favorite second round prospects. Let me know who some of yours are. I appreciate you guys watching. I will see you guys later. Real One Save Back.